Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I'm your host, Alecia Jacobson.
Hey, Badass listeners. Exciting news. Spirit of a Badass has been nominated for Best of Madison, and we've made it to the final round. Thank you so much for your vote for nomination. If this podcast has inspired you, made you laugh, or helped you feel a little more like the badass you are, I'd love your vote. There is a link in the show notes. All you have to do is click that link and then cast your vote under local podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so grateful for all of you and your vote. Hello, hello, hello to you today. Thank you for being here. Continuing on the theme of all the things that go into making up being a badass. One of the things that I see a lot, and one of the things that I used to have this tool called the Wheel of Life, and there was a spot on it. It was like different areas of your life and kind of made up holistically all of your life. One of the areas was your home environment. And that always confused people when I was like, rate your home environment 1 through 10. They're like, well, it's fine. What does that mean? One of the things that continually came up was this idea of clutter. And probably pretty much every single woman that I work with eventually brings up the idea of stuff and clutter and how it keeps them feeling just really stressed and overwhelmed about it. And usually this comes up in many different ways because there has been some sort of I can't get this done until I get this. And so there's this kind of stuff that is keeping you stuck and it's making you feel like absolute shit. And as I say this, my desk is, I have my car was a lease. And so, you know, how like when you sell a car or you trade in a car, whatever, you have to get everything out of your old car. So I have a bag full of shit that came out of my old car. I have all of this, my painting stuff. My desk makes me feel not good. It makes me feel sort of untethered a little bit. And the reason that I kind of thought about this, so this morning, we've been having some issues with our dishwasher. And last night I started it and went to bed. And this morning, my husband goes to get a cup out of it for his coffee and it wasn't clean. And this happened yesterday also. So I should have checked, but I didn't. But I realized this morning that when the dishwasher is not run at night, it's like a snowball. It throws everything in my day off kilter a little bit because when I work here in my home and I just see mess, it's just messy. And I don't like that. And I'm clutter blind. So like I say, my desk is messy and it's making me feel a little untethered. Sometimes I don't actually see it. My husband is very much not clutter blind. So he will just start throwing shit away. And it's kind of a running joke, not so funny all the time in our house because shit just gets thrown away. And we know that he is the culprit. And that's because he really does not want just stuff kind of lingering. So he is like, if you have like what you would aspire to be, to have a really tidy space without being like, on the side of like kind of obsessive about it. I feel like he has a really healthy relationship with stuff. And then you have the other end where I know there's some people that I've worked with and just people that I know, or maybe people talk about the families that they grew up in, where there's kind of a really unhealthy relationship with stuff, where you're keeping stuff for whatever reason, but then you can't have people over, or there's so much stress involved in having so much just stuff. And that's what I want to talk about today, because what goes unnoticed until it is gone is how much stress that having clutter wherever it is. This could be in your office. This could be in your car. It doesn't have to be at home, but wherever this clutter is, we don't really realize until we're out of it. It could be like, let's say you take a trip, or like I don't have my car anymore, and you get in and it's like, oh, it's so nice and clean. And you don't notice until it's not there anymore. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can breathe. I feel a little bit more clear-headed. I feel lighter. I don't feel as overwhelmed. So that's what I kind of want to talk about today, and the impact that it has on you and how you can kind of start small and move through that. So like I said, this is something that comes up all the time from an array of different kind of categories. Sometimes it's I grew up with people who kind of had, like my family, like we couldn't have people over because there was so much stuff. So now I'm conflicted because sometimes my habits mirror that. And also I want to get rid of stuff. I don't want to bring things in. So there's this, how do we find kind of this happy medium? Sometimes there's stuff where you put it on the stairs to go upstairs and nobody picks it up except for you, and it just sits there, and then it pisses you off because all it is a reminder of the stuff that other people are maybe not helping with. Or you have a stack, like right now I got a fucking ticket. This pissed me off. Let me go on a little rant here. I took my kids to a dental appointment, and apparently, and this is wrong on my part, I did not register my car for a whole ass year. And they just like mailed me a ticket. Well, I don't get the mail all the time. It was cold out. Like it was like rainy, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Anyway, you only had a couple days, 7, to respond to this or it goes up. So now I'm just pissed about it. But they are very efficient on sending reminders. So anyway, I have these reminders of the shit that I have to deal with. But that's what it is. It's like I see that and it's like, oh shit, fuck. And I'm continually getting pissed off. So as I'm doing this, as I was preparing for this day, I'm like, okay, when I'm done, I'm just going to take care of that, because all the things that you have in your space, it's just a reminder. Like in my car right now, I have stuff that I have to return to the store. They've been in there for like 5 days now. Or maybe you have the stuff that you have to donate. And it's just a reminder. It's like, instead of having a to-do list on a piece of paper, you see all of this stuff and it's a reminder of things that are undone. And it makes you feel like shit. It makes you feel like you're not good enough, or it makes you, there's all of these kind of feelings wrapped up in it. And you probably, unless you've unpacked it or you've worked with somebody like me that we've sort of, pulled it apart and kind of got you a plan around it, you probably haven't even really thought too much about it. It's just stuff to you. But it is literally a fucking visual to-do list. How can you handle that, and how can you move through it? Because depending on the level of it, it can like, what's the point? It's sort of like, well, I could spend, 2-3 hours doing it, but it's not really going to make a dent. So it feels like you either have to do this like all or nothing type of, I have to take a whole weekend, or I'm going to have to take time off work, or I have to do this, or I'm going to miss a whole work day if I clean out my office. And it doesn't have to be that way. Last summer, I think, maybe it was 2 summers ago, my basement was a huge thing on my to-do list. And finally, it was in August when my husband takes my kids up north. I had the whole time to myself. I found this app, and this might be helpful too. It's called Habit. I think it was free. If not, it really didn't cost that much for a subscription to it. Like a yearly, it was probably a very, very small fee. But you can choose the time, the unit essentially. So I picked 10 minutes, and I spent 10 minutes a day. I would turn on some Eminem blasting out of my speakers. I would set my phone timer for 10 minutes, and I would go down there and get as much as I could done in 10 minutes. Sometimes I went over, but by like 2.5 weeks, that shit was done. When you look at something, oftentimes your brain like catastrophizes it and thinks like, this is a huge task. It's a huge mountain. No different than your health. You want to start exercising and you haven't been exercising for a long time, or eating healthy. You think like, oh, I have to overhaul everything. I have to do everything all at once. And if I don't do it all at once, I'm just a huge fucking failure. That's not true. This doesn't have to be perfect. This is just like a hug for your fucking mental health that you don't even realize that you actually needed. And there's all these different ways that you can approach whatever it is. But the first step is like noticing that you have this shit. Like I said, I'm clutter blind. But until I actually just sat down here to do this podcast on it, I did not, I see the stuff on my desk and I've sort of like picked up some stuff and moved it to one spot to another, but I haven't actually, like, I don't pay attention to it, but I darn well know every time I sit down here, I see things and it irritates me. Like this bag of stuff for my car. It's been here for 2 weeks. I just need to move it and I need to get rid of it. It would probably take me 5 minutes. If you think of, okay, I'm going to give 5 minutes to clean up this one thing versus every time I look at the one thing thinking, oh shit, I still have to do that. That is like this lingering, almost like if every single thing had a voice and a different voice. And it's just like, it's like chattering. Can you imagine the kind of mental noise that all of this stuff would have? It would be so overwhelming. And that's what it does to your body, to your nervous system. It feels so overwhelming on your body. And you don't realize the impact of it until it's gone, until you have done something about it. So it's like this low level stress, not a big stressor. Somebody's not banging on your door, like yelling at you, or you're not like, under attack, or there's nothing. It's just this low level constant stress. But that's the shit that's controllable. We can do something about that. So if we can do something about that, let's fucking do something about it and really give yourself that gift of clarity in your mind and feeling so good in whatever space that you are in. And that will calm your mind, your brain, just kind of taking that constant pecking at you and telling you like, you have to do this, you have to do this, and making it go away kind of piece by piece. One of the things that I have noticed is that it keeps you stuck. It's sort of like, and I'm going to say the word excuse, and I say that very gently. But if you think of, I can't go and do like one thing before I get this done. And it's almost like, do you actually want to do that last thing, or are you using kind of all of the stuff as an excuse? Is it that you actually maybe don't want to have people over? Is it that maybe you don't want to have people in your office? Do you not want to be the driver of people? Almost like there's this fear piece of what would come next after this things were cleared up. This kind of fear of, I hear this a lot when it comes to kind of weight loss, that when you have a big weight loss, that it's like you're a new person. Are you afraid of being and having to do those other things? It's almost like insulating you with all the stuff and keeping you're comfortable with it in some level. Just like I'm comfortable with a certain level of clutter. I don't even see it. Now, my husband, his threshold for clutter is so much, like he is not comfortable with anything. Like in our bedroom at any given time, there's probably 3, like I have to do so much laundry in a day, like at least 3 loads of laundry filtered through every single day, or it's just piled. So I am very comfortable having this continual loop of a basket of laundry needing to be folded and put away. He is not comfortable, but he's also not doing the fucking laundry. So he just has to deal with it. Like I have some, compassion for that. And also, I mean, if it's really that, like he will clean up the kitchen because he can't stand that. He's not doing the laundry. So he's not like, he doesn't really have too much of an opinion in that one. But our thresholds are different. So looking at, maybe you have a really high tolerance because your tolerance has increased over time. And what is the kind of, what are you getting out of having that high tolerance? Because you're getting something from it. And what is that? Is it avoidance? Is it, kind of, do you have an emotional attachment to it? I remember in one of my groups, there was one of the women had a close person to her pass away, and she had gotten all of their stuff. And it was like, she didn't necessarily, like it was taking up all the space, but she didn't want to say no to it. So it was, what do you do with what do you do with the stuff, especially if there's an emotional attachment to it? How can you find new ways to maybe be with it? Maybe looking at, I know I've seen people make blankets out of old t-shirts. And I still haven't fucking done this. I think I even talked about this a long time ago. I had my great grandpa's lawnmower, and it sounds silly to say that the lawnmower had meaning to me, but it was very meaningful to me. And I'm still going to get a watercolor drawing of the lawnmower. I have pictures of it, and I'm going to have somebody paint it because it was sitting in our garage for years, taking up in a freaking riding lawnmower that takes up a lot of space. I didn't need that taking up that space. We have new shit in there taking up the space now that we probably still don't need, but I'm going to get a picture of it. So maybe there's different ways that you can get creative if you have kind of some emotional attachments to the stuff. Maybe it's just you've gotten so fucking used to it and you just need to like buckle down and do something about it. And if that is kind of where you are in this space, that is a really good place where you can use that habit app or looking at it in a way where it's like, okay, I don't need to be perfect about this. It didn't happen overnight. This is not going to be an overnight thing, and really look at it as a process. I talked about my basement. I cleaned it out a couple years ago. Well, guess what? I'm very comfortable taking shit and just throwing it in there because nobody can see it. However, we're supposed to have severe weather again today. And I'm like, so over 2 years, the basement got fucking cluttered up again, right? And it's on the bingo card where I did the episode about the 2025 bingo. The thing that I have been putting off was cleaning out the fucking basement. And my daughter and I, we went down there, and it took less than an hour because it wasn't that bad. I'd already, done it a couple years ago. It wasn't that bad, but it just was like, it's a dumping ground. And you have these sort of hot spot dumping grounds all over. And depending on your threshold will depend on, how comfortable you are leaving it there. But is it worth the stress and the emotional toll that it is taking on your body? And let me apologize because maybe you didn't even know until you're listening to this episode of like, oh, fuck, it is. But I guarantee you will feel better once you've done it. Another group that I had, we talked about, she was going to clean. It was just a part of her garage. And she felt it was like a snowball. She felt so good about doing it. It just turned into one thing after another. For the most part, once you get that like hit of, oh, I cleaned out this drawer, which by the way, doesn't take much fucking time. But I cleaned out this drawer. And like, oh, that felt really good. I already feel so much better when I open this drawer up. One of my other goals is cleaning my kitchen. That's my yearly goal. So I'm not taking a day and doing it, but there was a couple weeks ago that I just took a cabinet and I just started taking things out, like the water bottles without straws or lids and things like that. And I just got rid of them. And that is done. The freezer was another one that I did. It's just the kitchen area over 2025. And I guarantee the stuff that I fucking cleaned out at the end of 2025 is not going to be still cleaned out, it's going to be months later. But it is a snowball. Once you do one, then you can kind of like, oh, that feels really good. That feels lighter. That makes me feel less heavy and more clear-headed. And pick whatever works for you. I loved, loved, love this book. It's called Fly Lady. Now, this was back in the early 2000s. I did see, because I followed her, it was like when Facebook first started. I was on her Facebook and I did see that she was, I think, shutting down her business. I'm not entirely sure. But essentially she talked about like shining your kitchen sink, and your kitchen sink, it sounds very 1950s. The kitchen sink needed to be shined, but it was basically this like trickle down effect. Like if it's clean, it's going to naturally make the rest of your house clean and your kitchen clean. And that worked a little bit. As you know, my kitchen sink has never fucking shined, but I really like that. And then she talked about your house being in different zones. And I believe it was like a 10-minute timer, and you go in and you just like take a bag and clear shit out. And it was a timer, and it was on Mondays, it's this zone. On Tuesdays, it's this zone. And she called all the people that worked with her, and like in her Facebook, they were called her fly babies. And her methods. I think you can probably find the book still out there on the internet or kind of read about it. But the way she did it really, it worked for me, and I kind of adapted it to my own life. But whatever works for you is what works for you. And I think if it feels overwhelming, just breaking it down and doing a little bit at a time, but then maybe telling somebody like, hey, I'm going to do this. Or like I just said here, when I'm done, I'm going to pay that fucking stupid bill. Oh, did I even say the reason it pissed me off is because they just mailed it to me. They didn't put the ticket on my windshield. So I like didn't even know about it until later. I just think, I don't know. I did not appreciate that. Something about that really irritated me big time. Anyway, so I'm going to do that when I'm done. So having a little bit of accountability. I know when I have worked with people on this, it has varied so much. It has varied from their kind of kids' drawers that it's causing chaos in the morning because they can't find anything because nothing is put away, to, mail from months and months and years piled on countertops that I don't want to be opened because same reason I don't want to open this fucking piece of mail, because it's just something I have to do. But when you let it pile up, it's like each piece causes more and more stress of the things you have to do. It's just a visual list and to do of shit that you probably don't want to, but makes you feel like absolute trash. So whatever this looks like to you, to kind of open your eyes a little bit and see the spaces that are weighing you down, because I guarantee they're weighing you down. And then what can you do about it? If it's too overwhelming, how can you start small? How can you start with a corner or a drawer? And these are all places, like literally I have been sent pictures of actual corners of like that, you have the chair in your room that has the clothes piled on it where you're getting ready, or the treadmill. I currently have, I don't know what's fucking is on the treadmill upstairs right now, but I know that there's like these hot spots all over. And if you tidied them up, you would feel better. If you think about your day and waking up in the morning, what are the first things that you see? Are you going into your bathroom and have makeup scattered everywhere, or maybe empty bottles of things and just these reminders of just stuff? Like, are your feet hitting the floor and then you feeling overwhelmed by looking at this corner that has your clothes piled high in it of shit that you need to do? Or are you trying to make your coffee and there's just stuff everywhere reminding you, or getting in your car and you've got, last night's dinner that you got on the way home falling out when you open the door? There's so many different things that are visual reminders. Here's one, and this will go to the threshold. I have this wonderful client that I worked with, and one of the things that she said that she wanted to kind of address is that she has picture frames that still have, when you buy them, they have like random people in them, and she still has them in. And it was a visual reminder to her of the things like she needed to do that. It was a task that was left undone. Now, I have one that says Maui. Okay. Maui is where I got Hannah, my youngest. Okay. She was created there. Okay. So she is almost 8. So many years ago. Maui picture frame on my dresser. It's been there since I got back from Maui. There is no picture in it. No picture at all. Not at all. It does not bother me one bit. In fact, when I see it, I smile. There's been other times where my husband, where I've had things, he'll just display them out. Like, because maybe it drives him nuts. Maybe that's a conversation. But that literally, it makes me smile thinking like, oh, this is just some random picture in here. And it reminds me of Maui, which was a lovely time. That does not create any stress for me. Now, my client, that was a marker of, this is left undone. This has meaning about me, that I am not doing the task that I quote unquote should be doing. So then it's like, okay, first of all, does that need unpacking at all? And then also, can we take some time? Like, just go. 1, 2, 3, go. Do it. And if you set a timer, whatever works for you, maybe it's Saturday afternoons or Sunday mornings. Just look at your life and see what fits best and just be playful with it and be curious about kind of what got you here. What would feel best if you did? Can you pick one thing that would feel really good if you got it done? Mine is this stupid bill. And then I also have like a junk drawer in there that just, it's always going to have junk in it. Sometimes it's more organized, but I can't freaking open it anymore. And I have to do it because if my husband does it, he'll just throw everything away and I can't do that. But my offer to you is to kind of look at your space and see this week, what space can you kind of clear out? Because when you keep that stuff, it's not allowing space for other things. And right now, the other things is probably peace and feeling of calmness and just really being able to be settled in your space, wherever that is. So looking around, just picking one thing, and maybe you can kind of order them and make a long-term plan if that feels good to you. It's very unique to each person. It does not have to be a one size fits all. I know I follow some sort of organizers, and maybe I've had people before that they have worked with organizers and got them on board because it's like, one, maybe they didn't have the time and their time would be better spent doing their work and, hiring it out. That may be you. It could be, I know one of the ladies, she got a laundry service and I've seen these laundry service. I don't know if they're local to where I live, but there's just like people that will do your laundry and then bring it to you folded. It'd be really delightful if they could actually put it away, because I feel like that step is the hardest step. But maybe looking at like, is there anything that you can outsource if you have the ability to do that? Because that's totally doable also. If, again, that is part of your world that you can do that. All right. Thank you. As always, if you found this helpful, I would love it if you left a review or share it on social media. You can give me a little tag there. And I hope you have a great week. And I would love to hear what space you decided to tackle, what thing you decided to tackle, or maybe even what this stirred up for you, because I know that stuff in general, there's a lot of, it's not just stuff. There's a lot of feelings and emotions, and it's way more than just things and stuff. So a little unpacking in many different forms would be good. All right. Have a great week.
Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.